Okay, here we are then guys. We've gathered most of the ingredients together here that's going to make this roast dinner today. We've got this nice piece of beef which obviously comes from the supermarket, and it's been resting it to get to room temperature for about an hour or so before we put it in the oven. We've got our Yorkshire pudding mixture, which you can see I've made. Some broccoli that's very healthy. The potatoes, the roast potatoes we have to parboil them first. And these two dishes here, which obtained from the local supermarket, it's cauliflower cheese, and we've put it into this dish and put some extra cheese on the top. Likewise, this particular dish is carrot and swede mash. You can't quite see it because it's got a layer of cheese on the top. Okay, and here we have some chopped carrots and peas, which will be cooked and put together to be served. Okay, this is the next stage. Obviously the beef has got to be put into the oven because we're going to sort of slow cook this. So we turn the oven on, we put it onto it. To start with, we'll put it onto a high heat to give it a bit of a blast to get it ready for the slow part, which will be done at a lower temperature. Okay, while the oven is heating up, we shall just put some of this vegetable oil onto the beef, just to make sure it's got some oil around it when it gets this first blast in the oven. Okay, now this is going into the oven on the middle shelf, of course. In it goes, and that goes in for approximately half an hour, 30 minutes on high heat before we cover it with foil and slow cook. Okay, we've had about half an hour of blasting the bit of beef. You'll see when it comes out that the idea is to give it a little bit of a seal, as you can see there, the fat that was on the top. Now what we do now is turn the oven right down to number 3, and what we do with the beef is to take a small piece of non-stick baking parchment, just to put onto the top, like so. And here we have some kitchen foil, prepared for the right size, of course, and we're going to put this on sort of loosely onto the beef in the dish. But remember, the baking tray is very, very, very hot, so you have to be careful how you put this on. So I've put some sort of oven gloves on so that we can squash this foil all the way around to semi-seal it into the baking tray. And once we've got it on all nicely covered, it's not pushed down or anything hard, we can put it back into the oven at the same number we've just turned it down to, number 3. And that will sit there for about 2 to 3 hours. Right, a couple of hours now. This is the beef, of course. What we're going to do now is to take it out of the oven, turn the heat up a bit more, remove this foil, and look at that. And then we're going to return it to the oven for another 20 minutes or so to around the outside so it looks nice and unctuous. See that? A bit of meat. In the oven it goes. nice bit of water in there and make nice gravy shortly. You'll see when you see. Had a blast in the hot temperature. As you can see. Now then, what we're going to do now is lift that out from the roasting dish, put it onto the carving tray and cover it with foil and let it rest for at least half an hour. There we are. Okay, there's the beef ready to rest. Now what we've got left with is some rather nice tasty juices that we're going to use to make the gravy in a little while. Okay, and so the beef has been rested nicely. As you can see, the first thing we need to do is to remove this sort of stringy thing that holds it all together when it's cooking. Get back in. Oh. See, that keeps it in shape, as it were. We'll remove all of that. Now then, away it goes. Now then, where should we start cutting? Do we want this way or should we go this way? Let's see how we get on. Okay. Tested a little bit, so seems okay. Let's continue to slice. Okay, here's, see all those peelings there. We've got this saucepan almost full up. This is the last one. There we go, in it goes. And remove those peelings from here. Just rest them there. And as you can see, some of the starch is washed off the potatoes. What we do is we just drain all that water out. Keep my hand on the potatoes so they don't fall out. And top it up with cold water. Here we go. Okay, here we are. The potatoes are now on the stove. I'm just going to add a bit of salt to the water. Gives it a little bit of extra taste. And put the lid on. And turn it on. And we'll put these onto a gentle boil till they're just starting to get soft. Okay, these have been boiling for 20 minutes or so. What we want to get them to just to the stage where if you poke them with a fork, you can feel the fork going in ever so slightly, and they're not as hard as they were before we started boiling. And I think they are done. So what we will do now is we'll turn off the heat and take them over to be drained. Okay, here we are at the sink. We put the cold water on because we don't want boiling water into the same still soup. I'm wearing this glove because it's steam coming up. You can burn yourself if you're not careful. Okay, once all the water is gone from the potatoes, turn the tap off. Okay, and these are nicely drained now. We'll just set these aside. Then we're going to prepare the baking tray, which these are going to go into. the baking tray, which we're going to do the roast potatoes. What I like to put a bit of butter in, and a good old dosh of vegetable oil. In this case, it's organic rapeseed oil, which is, can you see that? Okay, now I need to put, I'll put a little bit more in. Now we put this in the oven so that the butter melts and the oil gets hot. A very hot oven. Get it hot first before we put the potatoes in. Right, there's the butter is nicely melted now, and oil is hot. So all we need to do now is to put the potatoes into the hot oil. And we don't want to burn ourselves. You've got to be careful with this because it can splash. You hear them sizzle as soon as they go in. Stuck to the bottom. Okay, look at that. What we need to do is just to give them a bit of a stir up to get them nicely covered in oil. What we want to do is get them with a little bit of oil over most of the surface of all of the potatoes. Sizzling across there. And I think that's ready for starters. And what we'll do a bit later on, give them a bit of a turn. Okay, I'm going to put those back in the oven, and we shall return to see how they're getting on. We're at the top of the oven floor on a high heat. Right, it's been here for a little while, these potatoes, as you can see they're sizzling around and getting a sort of brownish on the top. So what we need to do is to give them a bit of a shake up and turn over. So, these should be quite nice. Okay, you can see where that one's been nicely burnt on the top, so we'll make sure we turn them over. Those there as well. That one. How about that? This is chef. Right, now we shall put it back in the oven the other way around, so it gets done evenly. At the same time I'm putting this back in the oven, I'm going to put the cauliflower cheese and the carrot and sweet mash mix also into the oven. So that one goes in, probably just, I'm not going to do that. That's progressing. There, more roasted, which is what we're trying to do. Then we'll give a bit of a turn over. So we can get some evenly brown bits on the potatoes. Some a bit more difficult than others to turn over. But you can see the actual potatoes are getting quite soft, which is what we want. We want that sort of a crisp outside and soft inside of the potato. Okay, and they're turned over. We can return to the oven to finish. Okay guys, here I'm just about to make the batter for the Yorkshire puddings. Now, we use plain flour, and I don't actually weigh it myself. I sort of got this idea that you put so much in, and when it's in to the right level that I think is correct, which is about there, that's enough. Okay, to that we add a teaspoonful of salt, but that sort of amount, and mix it in, and we take 1 fresh egg, crack it open, in it goes. We've got a handy bin right next door. Yeah, look at that. And once that's in, we can start to mix it to get it started. And then we have some milk. This is semi-skim milk, but you can use any sort. Only put a small amount in to start with, so that you can get a thickish batter that you can stir around to make sure all the lumps that are in there disappear. This is where the hard work comes in. See, all the lumps are starting to disappear. Okay, when you get to that stage, we can add some more milk and mix it in so it gives us a nice thin batter. But when you lift the fork out after mixing it all up, it runs through the fork without sticking. Okay, now that's ready. Okay, here we have the trays that we're going to make our Yorkshire puddings in. What we need to do first is to put a small drop of oil into each of the containers. Which we will put in the oven to heat up shortly until they're really hot. Okay, before we put the Yorkshire pudding mixture into the pans, we have to heat them up so they're very hot. So in the oven they go. Right, I think the oil is heating up enough, and we should take both of those out of the oven. And I shall put the mixture in. We don't need a lot in each one, because you have to spread all the mixture between the 12 little pans here. Okay, now as you can see they're all filled up, so we'll transfer them back to the oven. And hopefully they will rise up to the occasion.